Being a collector is a kind of tragic activity. You know, there is that kind of funny thing with kind of classifying, that you want to pin things down so that it satisfies your sense of control. But on the other hand, you're also just wanting to know, to have information, that the information is kind of useful. I've had a huge interest ever since I was a boy in the natural world. One of the first books I can remember having was a book that identified insects. So I've been very interested in not only looking at the world, but also identifying what it is that I'm looking at. The world is a material thing, and we're material beings. I don't think how we are as beings is any different from how we are as material entities. And I always kind of made sculpture without particularly planning it out. The idea was that the sculpture would grow out of your interaction with material. So if you always make something in steel, then steel just sort of becomes the medium that you make sculpture. So whereas if you make things in steel and then in plastic and then in wood, then the wood starts to play a different role. It seemed like a straightforward thing to say, I'm not a carver, I'm not a carver or a model, I'm a fabricator. I thought that the idea of calling yourself a fabricator put on the blue overalls of an artisan, but it also questioned whether you were telling the truth or not. Whether there is or is not a digital aspect to the things that I do is probably a generational thing as much as anything else. I'd be more than happy to work on something that had a virtual reality element to it. So if you look on that over there, well, that's a digital print, and I've been interested in the way in which the information can produce a material object. The notion that that your interactions with the sculpture might also be mediated by a electronic device, I don't think reduces the meaningful possibilities. It kind of enhances it in some ways. The work that I make is often dependent on physical experience for you to appreciate it. Whether I have the capacity or the interest to be engaged in something which has no connection to a material reality, I don't know if I can do that. If you lose materiality, whether you have any meaningful relationship to the world, that's more tricky, I think.